The knock at the door came just as the sun dipped behind the mountain ridge, painting the forest in streaks of gold and purple. I'd been stacking firewood for the coming winter, sweat dripping down my face, when I heard it. Not a polite knock, not even a casual tap, but an aggressive, sharp pounding that echoed like someone demanding entry. I sighed. Living in this cabin had always been my dream, tucked away from city noise, nestled among towering pines, with a lake nearby that mirrored the stars at night. It was my sanctuary, the one place where my late father and I used to fish, camp, and talk about life. After he passed, I inherited the land, and I promised myself I'd protect it, no matter what. But recently, the peace I'd fought so hard to keep was under siege, not from nature, but from people. More specifically, from her. When I opened the door, I wasn't surprised. There stood Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA that technically had no jurisdiction over my land but acted as if it did anyway. She was in her late 50s, perfectly coiffed blonde bob, pearls around her neck, and a designer coat that seemed far too fancy for the woods. She looked at me as though I'd personally offended her by existing. "Daniel," she snapped, not even offering a hello. "You need to vacate your cabin this weekend. My family is coming up from the city, and we need the space. You've had it long enough. It's our turn." I blinked, stunned. "Excuse me? Your turn? This is my property, Karen. I'm not renting it out. And I'm certainly not handing over my cabin just because you want a weekend getaway." Her lips pursed into a thin line. "You don't understand. The HOA agreed that it would be better use for the community if this cabin was shared. It's selfish for one man to hog this beautiful space. You don't even have children to enjoy it. My grandkids deserve this experience." The audacity left me speechless for a moment. I stepped outside, arms crossed. "First off, this cabin isn't part of your HOA. It never has been. Second, my father built this with his own two hands. It's not a timeshare. It's not community property. It's mine." Karen's face flushed with anger, her eyes narrowing like a predator cornered. "You're making a huge mistake. I'll have you removed if you don't comply." And with that, she spun on her heels and stormed off, heels crunching the gravel of my driveway. I thought that was the end of it. Just another Karen moment to laugh about later. But 2 mornings later, I found myself standing in front of a sheriff's deputy and 2 officers in full uniform, their patrol car parked at the edge of my drive. Karen stood proudly behind them, smug as ever, arms folded, eyes gleaming with victory. The deputy cleared his throat. "Sir, we've had a report of trespassing. This woman claims you're unlawfully occupying this cabin, which belongs to the HOA." I felt my jaw tighten. Karen had really gone this far. I stepped forward calmly, though my heart pounded in my chest. "Officers, I own this cabin. I have the deed, the land survey, the tax receipts, all in my name. My father left it to me." "She's lying." Karen gasped dramatically, like she was a victim in some soap opera. "He's dangerous. He threatened me when I asked him to leave. My family is supposed to be here this weekend, and he's squatting." I could see one of the younger officers shifting uncomfortably. The deputy raised an eyebrow. "Do you have proof of ownership, sir?" I nodded quickly. "Yes. Come inside. I'll show you everything." As I gathered the documents from the old oak chest my father had built, my hands shook, not from guilt, but from rage and disbelief. My sanctuary was being invaded by lies, and worse, by someone who believed entitlement was stronger than truth. When I spread the paperwork across the table, the officers leaned in. Deed with my father's signature. Tax statements addressed to me. Survey maps with the property lines clearly showing the cabin stood well outside the HOA's jurisdiction. The deputy studied the documents carefully, then turned to Karen. "Ma'am, everything checks out. This man is the legal owner of the property." Karen's face twisted in fury. No. You don't understand. We voted, our HOA voted. That cabin should be community property. He has no right. Ma'am, the deputy cut her off, voice firm. An HOA has no authority over land it doesn't govern. You have no legal claim here. If you continue to harass this man, you could face charges for filing a false police report. Her smug confidence evaporated instantly. She stammered, face turning red. But this isn't fair. The deputy turned back to me. Sir, I'd recommend installing some cameras around your property. People like this sometimes don't quit easy. I nodded, grateful but exhausted. Over the next few weeks, I thought maybe the ordeal was behind me. But Karen wasn't finished. She launched a smear campaign in the community, calling me selfish, unneighborly, even dangerous. She spread rumors that I was hiding something in my cabin, that I wasn't mentally stable. Some neighbors avoided me, others gave me sympathetic nods but didn't want to get involved. It hurt. This place had been my refuge, and now it felt poisoned by whispers. But I held strong. Every night, I sat on the porch my father built, watching the stars, reminding myself of his words, "Son, land is more than dirt. It's legacy. It's memory. You don't let anyone take that from you." The breaking point came when I returned from town one Saturday and found a moving truck parked at my gate. Karen and her son were unloading furniture, trying to carry it up my driveway. I slammed on my brakes, leapt out of my truck, and shouted, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Karen jumped, but quickly plastered on a smug smile. "We're moving in. You've had your fun." The HOA voted, and we're reclaiming the cabin for community use. My blood boiled. The law doesn't care about your vote. This is trespassing. She sneered. Call the cops, then. See if they listen to you. So I did. And when the sheriff's department arrived this time, they didn't entertain her charade. They arrested her son for trespassing and attempted burglary. Karen screamed, cried, begged, but the deputy reminded her that she'd already been warned. This was no longer a game. The aftermath wasn't easy. Karen tried to sue me, but the case was thrown out almost immediately. The judge even scolded her for abusing the system. Slowly, neighbors who had once avoided me started to realize the truth. They apologized, brought pies, even offered to help me with repairs around the cabin. Turns out, most of them were just afraid of Karen's wrath. As for her, she was voted out of the HOA. Her grip on the community slipped like sand through her fingers. One evening, months later, I sat on the porch watching the lake shimmer in the moonlight. My neighbor Tom, an older veteran who'd kept his distance at first, brought over a couple of beers. "You did good standing up to her," he said. "Most folks would have given in just to avoid the headache. But you held your ground. Reminds me of your dad." I smiled, warmth filling my chest. "Thanks, Tom. This cabin means more to me than anything." I wasn't about to let her take it. He nodded slowly, gazing at the stars. "That's the thing about people like her. They think power comes from titles and rules. But real strength comes from knowing what's yours, and having the courage to protect it." And as the crickets sang in the dark woods and the fireflies danced above the lake, I realized something important. This cabin wasn't just wood and stone. It was a symbol. A reminder that no bully, no matter how loud, entitled, or relentless, could erase the truth. Final message. The story of Karen and her HOA antics wasn't just about property lines. It was about standing firm in the face of lies, protecting family legacy, and refusing to let entitlement rule over justice. Sometimes, the strongest fight you'll ever face is the one where you simply say, "No. This is mine. You can't take it."